by continuing to talk about rhetorical terms and devices. And today we're just going to start with a little bit of a review. And you may have your notes out, but I'm going to ask you about 13 questions. If you respond correctly, there might be a little incentive in there for you. So go ahead and take your notes out. I do have.
Yes. My teaching philosophy is that teaching is so much more than just teaching the content. I know we hear that a lot from a lot of different educators and people who are in education, but I truly believe that. I think that the more important aspect of it is really working with students, getting to know them on a personal level, and so that you can build that relationship that builds trust between you and the student, that you're not necessarily out to fail them, but it builds the confidence that they need to trust you in a way that is going to help them to be successful. I think every single student deserves an engaged atmosphere in which they can learn. Being able to laugh at myself is something I do on a daily basis, and the kids seem to really enjoy that, and it builds that trust with them that, you know, I'm not perfect, they're not perfect, they can feel comfortable in my classroom, they can feel comfortable getting something wrong, and it's going to be okay as long as we correct it and make it right so that they can truly be successful. Risk-taking is a big part of learning, and I believe that if the students are comfortable, then they will truly take those risks necessary to be successful. And being structured is part of it as well, but you can still have great relationships with kids, laugh a lot, have fun, and have a structured environment with a lot of learning that's going on.
So we're going to start with question number 1. All right, and you're going to answer by raising your hand. So question number 1, blank is the name of the ancient Greek philosopher known as the father of rhetoric.
Aristotle.
Aristotle is correct. Number 2, provide a brief definition of the term rhetoric.
Rhetoric is the study and practice of effective writing and speaking forms intended to convince and or persuade.
Okay.
Brief.
Hey, she gave the response, so that was good. So rhetoric, yes, is basically, that's what it's to do. You want to convince or persuade.
Well, one of the ways that I get to know students is that I really try to touch base with them on the first, when they enter the room. As for the first time they come in and they say hello and they sit down, every day after that I try to build a relationship based on that, where they come every day, I try to figure out their names so that I know them on a personal basis. They come in, sit down, and it's through that repetition, and then I get to know them on a personal level where I can start asking them questions about what they like to do and things like that. It might not really sound like it's content-based, but it is content-based because it's through that relationship that I build with them that I'm able to decipher what their learning abilities are, what level they're at, what they like to learn, how they like to learn, and I can then incorporate that into my lessons so that they're learning with something that they're comfortable with, they are excited about it because it's something they're interested in, and if I can work it in that way, then it makes it more enjoyable for them. They're willing to take risks, and eventually they learn to be successful.
Specifically from pathos. So explain the distinction between argument and persuasion. Argument is based on blank, and its goal is to, you gotta try.
I know it's based on belief.
Yes. And what is its goal? Do you know what its goal is? Who wants to try the second part? Yeah.
Encourage it.
That's the other part, but it's a good try.
In the lesson, I basically show them that they need to be comfortable in class and that they're welcomed and it's a warm and pretty risk-free environment. One of the ways I do that is by trying to find some positive reinforcement. I used candy in this lesson. Everyone likes candy, so they're willing to take risks. And you'll notice that some of the students may not have gotten the answer correct, but they still took the risk. They're branching out, they're not necessarily afraid, and if you can build that comfortable level with them, they'll continue to do so until they reach success. Other elements in the lesson, we're working with partners, just differentiating, getting them out of their comfort zone of working alone a lot, because a lot of the students like to be by themselves. That's what they trust. But working with another person is a big part of life. It's teamwork that sometimes gets us through a lot of the things that we're doing. So doing something like that and breaking up the lesson, not strictly doing the same thing in one period, I think is really important, because we've got those students that don't necessarily have the same attention span as others, and I want to keep them motivated and keep them interested. So segueing into different activities and using different tools, I think, is key in helping them to be motivated and successful.